unlimited ammo.
Greetings, ladies and gentle monsters and zombies and G-virus specimen and Eatress. I am your host and grog the fucked up because I just got up for this. Sarah Brando. I'm joined by these lovable people here. Let's start from the top. Andre, introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Andre B. Venom, and we are here to talk about some Resident Evil Village news.
Alright, Black Shadow, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Shadow here. I'm back from the RE Movie Podcast, which means I either was good enough that I was welcome back, or I was so terrible that Renegade was just being sympathetic and says, alright, come back for a second one. I don't know which one it is yet, so we'll find out.
It's the good one, not the bad one.
Thank goodness for that.
Our secretary, Des, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Des. I'm back from a Resident Evil movie podcast as well. So yeah, we're here to talk about the 25th anniversary.
Alright, Ginger, sorry, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Ginge. I was on the Resident Evil Apocalypse movie night, and I'm back for a second time, so looking forward to it.
Dirty Dan, introduce yourself.
Yes, hello. It is I, Dan, and I'm here with these guys to talk about the 25th anniversary of Resident Evil.
Last but not least, Nikki, introduce yourself.
Yo, what's up? Hi, everyone. I'm here with all these lovely people just to conversate about a franchise that's just about as old as I am.
And to simp on Chris Redfield.
Mm-hmm.
That's alright, I might do a good Claire, so it's fine.
I didn't say anything of the sort. I am a good girl here.
Lies and deception.
Lies!
I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
You guys should see my Discord username if you think I'm a bad girl.
Good thing people
I'm a
can't see
good
it,
girl.
probably.
Stop it.
Read that out loud. True Virgil Whopperator. That's what I gave today.
Oh, Lord.
I think we're now
Renegade.
18 plus, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, Brandon forgot my name again. He's doing this on
Yeah,
purpose.
he did. You skipped me for
I ain't did nothing wrong either. I'm a good boy.
lies.
I was like,
Renegade,
I went
introduce
half.
yourself.
All right, I went half past sleeping and I forgot. All right, my name is Renegade Operative, and I am here to talk about the 25th anniversary of Resident Evil. Let's have some fun.
All right.
Alrighty. Alright, just to start this off, what are your thoughts on the new poster they released for the 25th anniversary? You know what? I'm gonna go first. I don't hate it, but I don't like it either because they just use assets from the RE engine rather than just do something from the ground up like they did for 5 years ago anniversary, you know? So I personally not a big fan of it.
To go off of that, I think just the colors they use are really underwhelming. It's just like a big, bright, like, light. It's not really that appealing as opposed to the 20th anniversary poster.
Personally, it looks alright. I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really a big fan of the colors. I like the 20th more because it had more. It just felt a lot more colorful and just had more going for it. First, honestly.
The 20th one was the first one they ever really did, wasn't it? I think. I don't remember seeing an anniversary one before the 20th anniversary.
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't
think
remember
so.
one either.
I think that's the first one, yeah.
Yeah, the 20th
Yeah.
anniversary might be the first one.
So it feels like this one here, they focused on the past 5 years. Hence, you've got RE7, Remake 3, Remake 2, that sort of thing. So that's kind of the focus. You got Nemesis. It's fine. It's like it's a poster, I suppose. At the end of the day,
Yeah,
I think what's more going to be more important is what it's actually going to encompass.
Yeah, which is probably more games developed in the RE engine. That's why I'm like, I don't personally hate it, but I can see why people are saying, well, why is Carlos missing? And there's Jill, and those two were the main characters of RE3. I was, it's just like, in compared to the other one, they had a little bit more of the original lore put on top of it. So I didn't think it was that terrible. I just think that once again, it is kind of weird with some character placement and how RE7 Chris is there, but then again, they might have been lazy and said, you know what, Village is not out yet, so we're gonna just use the old model and not the new one.
It's fine. It is what it is. You know, it's not gonna.
It's not gonna
No,
kill
I don't
anyone.
use it.
Really, it is what it is. It's okay.
I'm not going to use it, so I have the other one that still exists. So there you go. I got what I need.
Yeah.
I don't know
Last
personally
year's
yet why
model.
there's a guy holding a shovel. I'll find out probably next year. But
The 20th one just looks a lot better, honestly.
Yeah.
Not a big
I feel like it looks less celebratory, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it really does.
That's the big
Anyway,
takeaway. It's less celebratory.
I think that the main thing is, again, with the colors, it looks kind of washed out. So it's
Mhm.
not as
Yeah, it's-
like, it's not as like
Mhm.
in your face as the 20th anniversary one.
Yeah, the colors are definitely a lot colder as opposed to the other one. Like it's like I guess more warmer because ironically you see the color red, which is a darker color than blue, right? You see how much it stands out better than what they got there, the other wallpaper.
It's probably also due to the umbrella logo at the bottom, which stands out a little bit more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Also, the big thing that's missing from the 25th anniversary poster is where's Rebecca?
Yeah.
People,
That's true, actually.
That-
Yeah,
that-
actually.
people have been saying
Actually,
that, but
where's-
I was like, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. They did not render her in the RE engine, so that's probably why they aren't using that character.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
that's the
looks
biggest
like-
reason why, yeah.
It looks like a lot of the
Reasonable.
it looks like it's just the characters that they use from what's 7 and
yeah,
Like, to
it's
now?
the
Yeah.
past 5 years.
7 to
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 remake.
yeah,
Yeah,
7
7
and
and
3
3.
remakes.
I agree. It's like I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. But like you said, it's the Chris from Resident Evil 7, which I didn't particularly like. Like 5, I thought not 5, but just a different version of Chris would have been better.
Yeah.
Just because it kind of died off for 7. I thought for Chris and some of the other characters. It's just like I presume that's Mr. X on the right. I'm
Yeah,
probably
Yeah,
wrong.
that's
that is
Mr. X.
Yeah.
Mr. X.
It's a tyrant.
Like-
Yep.
Yeah, why have you got that version of Mr. X where you can hardly make out who he is?
Honestly, yeah, I didn't even
like,
I couldn't
That
figure
is
it out.
actually true. We barely see Mr. X in this poster.
I
Oh,
really think again it's with the colors. Like even like Nemesis kind of blends in with the background. Like they could have,
yeah,
made the character stand out a little bit more.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right,
We technically answered number 2 though, so we actually go to number 3.
hold on. I
Great.
will actually show people that on screen, that poster real quick, if they haven't seen it, because I can just screen capture, no problem.
Yeah.
Alright.
technology. Hooray.
Yep.
Technology fixes everything. Well, not really.
Never know.
So let me get that up real quick, but you guys can continue talking in the process.
Yeah,
Alright.
so we actually go straight to number 3 though. Who wants to read that one off?
I'll do it.
Go ahead.
Capcom stated that the 25th anniversary will start on March 21st, 2021. What are you expecting?
Resident Evil game.
A Resident Evil game starring Jill. That's what we need. That's what the fans
Sounds
want.
basic.
either
Uh,
either
actually,
a Resident
I
Evil
wanna
game or
go-
some damn gameplay.
Yes. Yes.
Game
That is what we need.
for me, yeah, what Dan said, yeah, I would agree, but I actually kind of would like to see a not Code Veronica remake, but like a Zero remake. That'd be really cool to see. I really do want to see Rebecca and Billy like come back because it's been such a long time since we've seen those two in action. So that would be nice to see.
Like going off of games again, it wouldn't even have to be a remake, like in my opinion. Like maybe another spin-off game with Rebecca
Oh
in it.
yeah.
Like
Revelations
it
3.
doesn't have to be a straight up like Zero remake, in my opinion, to still have merit to be announced on that day, you know.
Yeah, I think a Revelations 3 would be really nice to see. I definitely wouldn't mind it because I think they can still continue that series or the sub series, you know. Anywho,
Depends on the characters they use, honestly. I think main series is probably gonna stay as Leon or Chris as the main leads, but Revelations will be a nice opportunity for them to use characters that haven't been utilized in the series for a long time. I just kind of wish that they actually have more people. Like, I'm kind of curious where Carlos is right now. And maybe they could do something with like Hunk as an antagonist or something. That would be kind of cool. If they don't do it in RE Village, then they could do it in this game.
Or like Dom said, have Hunk have his own game.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a whole idea.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd
be up for that.
There was a whole idea of how RE3 was going to be, and originally it was going to be Hunk on a boat before they changed that later on in the timeline to Jill being on the ship in Revelations. So they could always revisit older things or things in the series that could have been potential ideas, but they were left on the cutting room floor.
Also, when I said gameplay, I meant, because I don't know when Resident Evil 8 actually gets released. It's sometime next year, but I don't know when.
Tentative 2021, so it means that
so either gameplay for Resident Evil 8 or gameplay for the Resident Evil 4 remake coming out the year after.
I say nobody mentioned the Resident Evil 4 remake at all. That was something I was
Yeah, that's great.
I don't, for some weird reason, I think it will be in development at that time. I don't think there will be a trailer though. I think it might be a teaser, and they say, hey, look, this is coming next. Because Dom was saying something about they have the assets to utilize with Resident Evil Village to this game, because I think they utilized assets before with Resident Evil 7 to Resident Evil 2 Remake.
No, I think they actually did, because if you look at the werewolves' faces in 8, it's the same exact face as the giants from 4. So.
Yeah, I mentioned that actually. Like, Village looks like a giant asset flip waiting to happen for like a potential RE4 remake or whatever in the future in relation to like a Village type thing. Because I'm like, I'm getting strong RE4 vibes from it. I have this suspicion like this will be the Resident Evil 4 of the current iterations of Resident Evil.
Yep.
Oh, definitely.
I'll throw out a little theory for 25th anniversary. I don't think there's actually going to be anything particularly special done for it as such, like a separate thing. They've already got Village. You've got Infinite Darkness. You've got the other Netflix show going on, the Wesker stuff. I would say they've probably already got enough going on. I reckon, out of punt, there was a theory going around on the Discord, and I know it wasn't me who came up with this. I forget who did, and I'll probably shout up and say, "Oh, it was me." About what happens with Chris and the whole he's meant to be bad, or is he bad, and he's playing this grey area. There was this theory that came around about perhaps like he doesn't know what he's doing, and then they call Jill in, and she gets involved in Village because she hasn't been involved in the series since the events of RE5, basically, because of all the crazy shit that was done to her. It could be that the 20th anniversary might be like their recognition of like things coming full circle, and it might like end up leading into that idea, I reckon, because I think it's a really cool idea. Jill comes out one more. She knows Chris is here just to try and get some sense into him. And they got enough going on.
It was me. I think you and I were talking about that idea.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't remember who I was talking it with, but I think it's a good idea, and this could be like a quiet like lead in maybe into that sort of theory that's what they're going to do, because like this whole Chris Redfield thing being like he's the bad guy, I think is a pretty much a red herring. It's a lead in to people wondering what's going on, but he's not going to be like the ultimate bad guy. He's not going to stab himself full of whatever virus they're doing in this game. That's not how this is going to work. And if they did, that'd probably be really terrible. I don't see why you would do that. I think it has to have a quote happy ending unquote, and maybe Jill being brought for one last mission after being away for a long, long time in the lore. I mean, the events of RE5 was like 2015, 2016.
No, RE5 is 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
So it's been all right. So it's been like 10 years or something since she was last out in the field. Notably, it's a perfect opportunity to get involved, come full circle story with Chris, and they both wander off into the sunsets. He says, right, "I'm done." I think that's and this could be a quiet little acknowledgement that maybe we're going the story, and if so, then we're geniuses.
Well, I know one thing for certain though, like they're not gonna kill him off, nor I don't think he's gonna get retired out anytime soon. Because Capcom did confirm that this isn't want to be the last time you see of Chris. So they already pretty much killed that surprise of this being the last rodeo for Chris.
That could mean anything. He might take over directorship of the BSAA. He might just become like a more, I wouldn't say behind the desk figure, but as we mentioned,
you're right. But considering this is Capcom here, it's more likely a playable character more than anything.
Maybe, but he's also like nearly 50. So
yeah, so is Barry. He pushed a helicopter.
Yeah, that's because Barry Burton's Barry Burton. He's like everyone wants him to be his dad, so like Barry can get away with
He
anything.
is best daddy.
He's a great dad. So, but that's my theory. I don't think if they're gonna do anything like some mercenary style, maybe throwing in loads of characters using the RE engine. But other than that, I just don't see how there's scope for anything in March. They've already got their feet in plenty of projects as it is. So as we'll talk into later in the podcast.
Okay, so there is one thing that I slightly disagree with. I don't think that they're going to probably not show anything or not celebrate anything or not do anything on that day because they made it so important. And there was also a statement that said, and I think it was from Jaw Muncher, who I follow. Shout out to you, by the way. He said something about how Capcom is not doing much this year with Resident Evil after RE3, but they are going to kick it into overdrive next year. So
feels
obviously,
like they are,
yeah, obviously there's going to be content for Village and there's going to be the movie, but that could also mean more. So I just think that there could always be a surprise for the next game coming the next year after the fact, because I think there's definitely going to be an RE game coming out for 2022, 2023.
2020 is bad when RE3 is getting shitted.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward though. Use your 25th anniversary to announce a game that's not coming out for another year, 18 months. It seems kind of odd. Usually you do something in or around that anniversary time, and there just isn't enough time for them to develop something else like massively, unless they've been doing something for 6 months and not told anyone, which isn't possible.
Oh, so supposedly the game is already in development, but if they did show it, I don't expect like a full-blown trailer or anything. Maybe like a teaser and that's it, just to say, hey, this is happening. Because Capcom likes to do this thing where they announce something way too early and then we have to wait for it. You can tell like Village, it doesn't have like any other date at all outside of like 2021 next year. We don't know when it's going to be.
I'm expecting like Q2, Q3 probably. I can't see it being any sooner. Given with what they showed at TGS, which was not a lot, then it's hard to think that they're going to have anywhere near a complete game on their hands. That'd be my takeaway from TGS as far as that's concerned. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, I agree. Like, with the fact they've shown next to nothing other than what we've already seen, it must be the end of next year that it's coming out.
Which is fine with me. Give it the time, give the space. They RE3 debatedly needed more time, and it came out and people weren't too great, and it's been a crazy year, so give it all the time it needs. I think Art Village could be a really, really good title, but it needs time to
I agree. I agree. They shouldn't like I don't want them to rush it, like bring it out at the beginning of the year and it's not done and it's clearly shown not to be done. Like it's really buggy, it's glitchy. I'd rather they take their time, get it fixed, get it sorted, and it's done in the end of the year.
I think we're tangenting a bit here though.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Actually, that was good conversation though. Don't worry, don't feel bad though. But we should actually
get to
move
there in
on.
about 20 minutes. Don't worry.
We should actually move on to the next question though, because who was the real number 4?
I'll do it.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Number 4. What are your first impressions on Resident Evil Infinite Darkness as a series for Netflix, as it breaks away from the movie model? You know what? I think that's kind of a good thing they're doing, like sort of a mini TV series, because I personally kind of tired of the movies. Like, I'd rather them do something more in the episodic format so they can kind of explain things a bit better, because I think the issue is when you do a movie, you have to tell a story in about 2 to 3 hours, and sometimes they skim over a lot of details or some things don't really get properly answered. So I think with a TV show, you can kind of you got more leeway with it, So I think it works better that way.
Might be worth explaining what they are actually doing for people who don't know, who might be listening. Just in case. Might be worth. Which is going to be a Netflix series, episodic series, with the CG, which is something I don't think they've ever done before. It's funky in that respect, but that's what they'll be doing. They haven't really said much more beyond that. They've shown off like a minute's worth of teaser trailer, and that's about it until the future, basically. What they're doing. I think it's a curious model. I think it's not a bad idea though. The CGs have generally, I think, gone down better than the live actions, which, funny enough, of course, goes on with Infinite Darkness and whatever on earth the other series is called. I can't forget it off the top of my head. Someone remember? The other Netflix thing they're doing?
Wesker and the Scooby Doo Mystery Chase. That's what it's called.
So in Wesker's Mystery but yes, that's what they're doing. I think it's a pretty good idea, and knowing that the CGs, I think, generally are not actually that bad. I think it's a good idea. And besides, it's Leon Kennedy in a fucking suit. Like,
yes.
What more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Leon in a suit. That's
I
money.
won't lie, he is swagging that suit out.
Yep.
That is.
He really is, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Des. So let me go real quick because mine might be a little brief. I'm actually looking forward to this. I'm glad they actually do something different aside from the movie format. I prefer movies over TV shows personally, because I don't want to have the time to invest in all 30-something episodes, right? So movies are more my cup of tea, right? But I'm fine with this. I'm fine with this format. My only complaint is that why is Leon once again in these damn movies or CGI related projects? He's literally him and Chris. I understand they're popular. No, don't get me wrong. I'm Team Chris. But can we get somebody else? Like, where's Sherry at? Mention Sherry and Claire together. Or hell, even if they're gonna show Leon, man, get Sherry in here. No.
What if Sherry shows up in this show? That's the thing.
Other characters probably they probably could pop up later down the timeline if they're doing a show.
It's possible though, but I want something else that's the main character, not just Leon. You know, because even Chris himself is not a main character in 8.
As for that though, that's the reality just sinks in that these types of formats, because the last people that did these movies were from Resident Evil Vendetta. These types of formats are solely Chris and Leon shows. Honestly, it's been like that for the last couple of years with these movies. I would like a fresh change of pace, and maybe they might do that later on considering, but for now, I just got used to the fact that they are so popular that they keep utilizing them for these shows and these games. But I do agree on one stance that where the hell is Jill and why are they not utilizing her and she's just as popular?
Well, again, this goes into the lore a bit. This goes into the next point, which is about when this time and story might be set. But again, the whole idea with Jill after RE5 was she'd been obviously experimenting with all sorts of crazy viruses because of Wesker, and then they're obviously looking into that and massive R&R. But I do agree. At some point, she surely has to come back. And also, it might be with this. It might be RE8. Who knows?
Also, Des, I apologize. I cut you off. What you were saying?
So you guys said a lot of things at once. So what I was gonna say is, I do, again, I'm also the type of person that prefers movies over TV shows, but I do like the TV show aspect of it because, as mentioned before, you can flesh out things. And yes, we are getting Leon and Claire as the two main characters again, but because it's in a series format as opposed to a movie format, we might later on down the road, we could get other characters in on this. So that's another reason why I'm just oh, you know what, the series format is a much better idea.
Yeah, that's why it's such a complicated response, because they could since it's just not a one and done movie, they could do a lot more with it than just what they've done with the CGI movies thus far.
Maybe we could even get sorry. I was gonna say we could probably it could be a thing where we get multiple perspectives. We don't really know what they're gonna do. They didn't show us much, so.
Nope. That's true. I think it's kind of a wait and see kind of deal because we'll probably get more information down the line. I want to say the series is going to come out I have this feeling it's going to come out October of next year. In time for Halloween.
Still no date, only just a year, which is next year.
Also,
I mean, like we were saying, it leads to having multiple perspectives, multiple characters showing up, and especially if they're fans of Ada Wong, anywhere Leon is, Ada's right behind him, so he'll definitely show up.
actually. It just made
Oh
me so
yeah,
happy.
a
Ada
good
was gonna
call.
come
So I
back.
Yeah.
Slightly a perhaps stranger inclusion, which is an odd thing we say here, but it is a bit weird that Claire's involved. Like, you could throw anything with Claire Redfield White, and I'd say, yep, that's awesome. So I might be biased there. But like outside of RE2, where she didn't know she was coming into, you had Code Veronica, where she lost her mind. And then she also went into the kind of background role with TerraSave and that. Like, she's not really ever like gotten involved with any kind of field
She's
stuff,
not
so...
a major importance, you know, because you look at her brother. No, he's like he helped create BSAA, a organization against bioterrorism, right? And then of course the shit in 7 and whatnot, right? You got Leon, you know, he's a president's bodyguard and secret agent somehow. So
Because
like,
he
what's
can dodge bullets. That's pretty much why.
so like what good is Claire? Like, what's she gonna do? Like, why is she so important? You know?
I have a
yeah,
feeling.
It's the question, isn't it? I think that... Sorry, I'll say something, but like, I imagine it's probably a case of, much like if you think to the Degeneration, for example, and the other CG movies, where it's, again, situations she's been thrust into, not that she's gone looking for. So maybe she's like gone in the middle of something on behalf of TerraSave or something along the line, and she's ended up in some sort of situation. And then obviously it's gotten word out, and they've said, right, Leon, you can do everything. Off you go, save the world again. He's like, yep, sure. Look,
And she still happened to be there, right?
So it's not a case that she's not there for BSAA on their behalf. So I would assume that is what will be the case. Is she was somewhere where shit went down, and she's stuck in the middle of it, as she often tends to be.
That makes sense. I guess that works. Honestly,
Can't see what
Yeah,
else.
that's
it
how
would
I
be.
usually see Claire, like usually thrust into situations where things happen all around her.
Yeah, I was gonna add on to
Yeah.
that. It looks like she is in some sort of haunted house or something where she's not supposed to be. I think one of the concept arts show that there's a guy that killed himself who was possibly infected. So that's what I think what her storyline is going to be, is that she's just roaming around searching for something, and she probably shouldn't be there in the first place.
Can I
Yeah,
say
no
something
change
about
there.
the concept art too?
Oh,
'Cause
definitely.
It definitely.
Go on.
Sorry, go on.
Okay, it's okay. I was gonna say it definitely looks like she did just kind of show up at a house, and like, what's the importance of this house? Like, why is she there? Who is this person that she stumbled upon? And then even in the trailer, she got spooked and she stepped on something that like shattered, and I was kind of just like, what is that? Like, is this
Like
did we
vials,
happen
I reckon.
upon
Mhm.
like? Yeah, that's what it looked like. I was like, did we happen upon another maybe virus? Or was someone being experimented on again? Like, what is this?
So hard to know. It looks like pretty
You
early in the
never
series, I
know.
reckon. It looks pretty early in the series.
Yeah, like-
so-
I have this weird theory that there's probably a lab underneath the house they're experimenting on humans, but that's just me.
Well, if you go by
You never
Resident Evil,
know.
there's labs underneath everyone's house, cinema, factory,
City,
hospital,
yeah.
carnival,
Doghouse is a lab
doghouse.
you'd think
Oh my
these
God.
people the organization was run by Batman or some shit, because he has bat caves up the wazoo, even on the damn moon.
Yeah, so with the teaser, you don't really see a lot, but what I took from that, what I thought might be happening is it's two different perspectives during the shows, because you see Leon in like this kind of like high-end building. I don't know what building it would be, but you also then see Claire, and when I saw Claire's bit, it was like I got really big like Resident Evil 7 vibes from it, like the house and all that she goes into. So I don't know, like to me it just looks like there might be two different perspectives.
Probably. I mean, they've done it before, and
Yeah,
it will probably work. And then I'll be able to say, RE6 wasn't actually as bad at games as everyone thought. Like,
But with two different perspectives, it could be two completely different locations. It could be two different viruses going on. Like, because you see Leon shoot what looks like a classic zombie, but then you get, again, it got mentioned a moment ago with Claire steps on what looks like vials or tubes or something. So it could be something completely different. I don't know. That's just what I think.
yeah, we're gonna need to wait till more information comes out, either this side of
Oh, yeah.
Christmas or maybe in the new year, whenever they get more information out for it, have more of an idea. But
On
I'm
March
looking forward to it.
21st.
March
Well,
20.
yeah.
Oh my God.
You know what?
They could say something about it.
Actually, no, real quick, hold on. Since we're still on the subject, though, might as well bring up number 5. What's your speculations on the timeline and the story for Infinite Darkness?
Ren should take this a little bit. He did a bit of digging on this.
Okay, so
Yeah.
actually I got counterpointed by that, but so I made a theory that maybe it's like 3 years after Vendetta, but then someone said that Vendetta was hard to pinpoint timeline wise. The only thing they said was that it's sometime after RE6, which was July the 1st, 2013, and it's sometime before RE7, which was like 2014, 2017. So it was really hard to pinpoint, but the only conclusion I came up to was the fact that nothing really happens in 2016 outside of Umbrella Corps, and they were saying that Umbrella Corps is canon to some degree. I don't fucking know how, I don't know why, but Umbrella Corps is canon to the franchise, and 2016 outside of that is a pretty empty year in the Resident Evil timeline. I'm assuming sometime around there would probably make the most sense, because it is technically before the main story of RE7.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can gather from just the way Leon and Claire look. It's not recent. It's not like next year. It's not 2021. It's a few years back at the very least.
Mhm.
Then again, they probably keep them de-aged, keep their looks, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, Leon will be probably looking like 22 until probably the day he dies or something ridiculous. I mean,
Someone
Look
already
for the
was
job, I guess.
someone already was complaining about how Clara looked in Infinite Darkness, and Ren made a good point of saying that
Revelations 2.
that she takes
Yeah.
care of herself. And I mean, it's
Yeah.
true. You're in a zombie apocalypse. You gotta do whatever you can to survive and take care of yourself.
Look, I've seen 50-year-olds literally look like 20-year-olds. If you
Yeah, it's like,
maintenance yourself properly, you can still look young, even though you appear to be older.
yeah.
I mean, I still get carded everywhere, so.
That'll do it.
yeah, it does.
We don't know.
It does look fairly Revelations 2 like, which is what I was thinking as well when I first saw it. The jacket and shirt sort of thing. It's that sort of vibe, and that was like 2012, 2013.
2013.
2013 that was set. So I think somewhere around then seems feasible. It could be perhaps afterwards as a result of all the shit that went down with Alex. It could be slightly before. It for all knows they might be really cute, and like that's the lead into like the whole TerraSave thing. More about how that actually became developed. Because TerraSave
that's a good point.
but it's never really been explained about. BSA is the big thing. TerraSave was the whole kind of non-violent sort of like public information sort of thing. So maybe this might be set a year or two beforehand, perhaps. And the events thinks that she feels like she's got to do something as well, rather than the sidelines, and then she goes on to try and put together TerraSave. I think there could be a potential plot point that arises from.
Yeah.
I want to throw in something random real quick. Why is her nose big? Or it might be just me.
No.
Is
Is
it
this another Nemesis situation?
Nemesis,
insult
no.
me, but-
Oh
Is that
man.
nose big? I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
know.
yeah.
I admittedly,
Yeah,
I
like,
wasn't
look-
looking.
I looked at
wasn't
certain
looking
angles.
At her nose, so like I might not
Like-
be the best
Neither,
person.
but I
to
feel
ask.
I was looking at her face deeply because her Revelations 2 face was ugly as shit. I'm sorry. It was bad.
Wow. Jesus.
I was gonna say, like, none of the characters ever like hold up. Like, they are not hold up well, but they're never consistent in their appearance from like even if you're like following the games, especially for like Chris from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. Like, he looks different in like all of them. So like I don't know. I feel like none of the characters ever are consistent.
That's why I kind of don't care about face changes at this point. It's like, look, they changed Jill's face like 5 times. Like, it's just common at this rate. Now, I like her face
5.
now. Yeah, they changed her face like many times, like from ORC.
And her hair color.
Yeah, her hair color,
yeah,
all this other stuff.
Revelations.
When she comes
Yeah.
back again, I have a feeling she's gonna look just like she did from RE3, but just a little bit older. But still,
Yeah.
they've changed her face so many times. I'm just like, who are you and what is this? And it's just like, I have accepted it at this rate.
The facelifts, man.
The virus has
Like when
kicked
she-
in.
Like when she was doing her whole like what do they call it? Zero Suit Samus look. Like when she was doing that, like completely different look for her.
Yeah, because they could get away with it. So it's like it's a moot point. It's fine. Yeah.
I had a side question and I lost it. My God.
Oh no!
Oh
remember
yeah,
it.
now I remember. I
Oh,
remember.
no.
My memory is not an old man. I apologize.
Yeah.
There
Give it
was a at the end of the trailer where there's like a guy on the ground, right? And people
Yep.
were speculating if that's a major character or not. What do you guys think of that? You think it's a main character or just some guy that's gonna be killed off in 5 seconds?
You know
It
what's
could be
funny?
anyone. It could be
Probably
anyone.
side
You know what's
character.
funny?
He's
Some
gonna be
people
a side
speculated that
character.
was Ethan, and like, what?
Huh?
Yeah, some people speculated in the comments. Of the...
I did see that. As
I
well.
don't think
did
so
see
at
that.
all, dude.
It's gonna be. It's like when again the generation. You know, you had all these airport people. Had loads of stuff going on in the trailers and that, and you thought, oh, this could be this character, and they would just.
Yep.
It's probably no one.
It's
Just
Clancy.
some dude he saved. Leon. Being
It's
Leon.
Clancy.
Yeah. It's Clancy.
It's just a jobber.
It's
Ah,
a
Clancy, come
jobber.
on, man.
Good grief.
Not the cameraman.
Yeah, I think
Once again.
I think in the synopsis it says clearly like this is a guy who Leon saves and also he saves Leon. I think it might be just like Buddy a little bit where they team up, but I think he's gonna die, obviously. It's just
Hey,
a
that's
matter. Yep, it's just a matter
It
of
could be a
when and
little-
where.
What if it is Buddy?
He's in a wheelchair though, right?
Right. It obviously can't be him unless he like got. I'm not saying anything about or anything negative. What if he fell out of his wheelchair and I don't know. Look, it's theories everywhere.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, it's too early.
I'm
All I
going to
know
hell.
is I really like Claire's jacket. So I'll just write it.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
it gives-
great.
Gives you a proper Resident Evil Revelations 2 vibes with that.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
gonna say,
And I thought,
I think Claire's outfits are usually pretty spot on.
yeah, they're always
Yeah.
solid. Nice, pretty simple, pretty
Simple.
catchy. Good
Oh,
stuff.
that reminds me of a thought that I had in my head earlier about it. Was that Leon actually looks he has life in his eyes, like he looks a little bit better than he did in Vendetta, so it actually could be before Vendetta. Because like
Possibly.
if anyone remembers how Leon was like in Vendetta, he was like he just had like he was like completely dead in the eyes, like his soul was completely gone.
Yeah, but he'd
I
also
wonder
given up,
why.
hadn't he?
I think Ada broke up with him.
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
She's like, look, we've been doing this for like 20 years. I've had enough. And I moved on. She's like, I'm dating Helena now. I'll see you later.
Oh
I've
my
had enough of
god.
playing hard to get.
I have no comment on these shenanigans.
I mean,
Blame,
it has-
blame,
Go on.
blame the Chris Redfield ass lover.
Why is it always me?
But anyways,
Oh,
Black
dear.
Rock, what were you gonna say?
Hmm?
Were you gonna say
Yeah.
something?
I'm Ginge, but okay.
Oh, James, dang.
You made the same mistake
No,
I did.
I was only just going to go back to like when people were suspecting when it would be. I just think it would be sometime between 4 and 6. Like I don't, because that's quite a big gap, and you also don't, apart from the films, you don't see a lot of them two during that time. Like, so I feel like it would be between them, like just between them two games sometime, but I don't know when, like exactly.
No, yeah, it could take place between like 5 and Revelations 1, because that was mostly what Jill and Wesker and Chris and whatnot, right? So
Yeah.
maybe it could take place around that time frame with them running to each other again. But then again, though, when did the first movie CGI movie take place in? Was it before Revelations 1 or after?
I
was
think
before.
before.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure it was before. It wasn't that long after. It was like 2002. I could be. I'm just plucking a date out there, but it could well be around then.
No,
yeah,
it
I'm
was a
fairly
lot
certain it's
later than
before.
that. Yeah.
I don't know when, but it was before Revelations. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, research. Give me a sec.
Here we
There's
go.
plenty of scope when it could be. There's bags of scope, so we'll find out more again closer to when they actually sit down.
Oh,
in
somebody brought
March.
up a good point. Yeah, Claire does cut her hair after Revelations 2, but then again, it's hair, so hair can grow back after a couple of months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we just don't know all the details, but so far I'm absolutely excited. I cannot wait. Once again, this gives Resident Evil the opportunity to get more episodic content. Maybe they could do a season 2, season 3 if it goes well. We just have to.
Okay,
wait and see.
it's sorry to interrupt. It's 1 year after Resident Evil 4, the first CGI movie, Degeneration.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
Fair
2005.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, fair enough.
All right. I guess we could move on to the next question, right?
You.
Da, 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 da. I can read this off if you want. What are your thoughts on the second RE8 Village trailer? To those of you who hasn't seen it, no, the link is in the document. But overall, it's more the same, honestly, from the first one. Some extra tidbits.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm gonna have to say. It's just more of the same. Like, only thing they really showed sort of new, I guess, is maybe that cult. I guess when they do those chanting on that, around that circle that looks like some kind of Full Metal Alchemist. Not much really changed.
How about that whole like storybook thing?
Yeah, I was going to bring this up.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
really nice. That's a really neat kind of way of. It was talked about in the developer stuff, which will make to developing something we'll talk about later on. They did bring it up via a storybook to kind of give you like a basic background lore, which is obviously going to be constantly referenced throughout the game. And I think it's a really, really nice little idea. It's a cute artistic style, very un-Capcom like as well. For now, I think of like Don't Starve. It's almost like that kind of art style, which is really cute actually. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I thought it was really good too. Like when
Mhm.
I was watching the trailer, I got pretty drawn into it, and I was just like, "Wait, no, I want more." When it ended, and I was like, and then I
Mhm.
realized, "Oh, wait, this is Resident Evil," and I was like, "Wow, this is completely different from like anything they've ever done," you know? And I was just like, "This is interesting, considering like we have the supernatural elements in the game, and then you have this whole storybook thing where it's like, oh yeah, all of this is like not real. Don't worry about it. Don't be paranoid about it. It's cool. It's fine." And it's like, oh no, like shit, this is real.
I have a
At least
side
good to
question.
see. Go on.
Just I didn't mean to cut you off, but just to piggyback off of that, you guys think those sections are going to be playable?
I hope.
No, I don't. I don't imagine
Maybe
so.
not. Nah, I doubt
No,
it.
I think-
Honestly,
it's-
nah. I think it's for
it's all well and
artistic
good.
speaking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's good that Capcom are like exploring perhaps different mediums to try and help to tell plot. But no, I don't see a point of making those sections playable. I think that would just like doesn't make sense. I don't see why you do that. It's meant to be it's meant to be a fairy tale, isn't it? Why would you play a fairy tale in an RE game?
Yeah.
It would be interesting, but yeah, I can kind of see that point. Just because I feel like it would kind of pull you out of the initial game.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Because I know that Capcom did say that these story segments or the fairy tale books that you find in the game, they're going to have a lot of plot significance. And they said that without them, the game would be confusing. So I was just wondering, like, where's the temperature on that, and if you guys thought it was going to be playable or not. But yeah, that's a fair point that it could distract you from the experience of going to this realistic werewolf setting to, oh, I'm going to play Coraline for a minute and try to do some platforming
Yeah.
here.
You know, I'm
They can-
glad
they
I'm the
can
only
use
one
it
that
for a lot of
thought of
moves.
that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on. I just read.
I was saying, like, it reminds me of like some other indie games, from back in the day. That little weird girl jumping through all that hoops and whatnot.
I said I said
There's
I
some
saw that at
interesting,
first. I thought it was like Don't
theories about
Starve.
that.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the theories that I read, well, not theories, like suggestions, I guess, like when I was reading the YouTube comments, and someone suggested that the old lady in the village is actually that little girl who got lost in the forest.
Yeah, that's very, very possible. That would seem a
Yeah.
logical plot point, you know. And again, if they're going to have this plot device and they're going to explain it in this sort of way, it's going to be constantly referred back to. And things again, it's Village. I get this feeling there's going to be a lot of cyclical stuff going on in the plot, in the narrative, the story, and the characters. So it makes perfectly logical sense that this girl that gets lost in the forest is now the crazy lady. Who you don't believe. They're just, I was there originally. And they're like, well, of course she was at the end. And then she probably turns into like a 50-foot wolf and tries to eat us. Which would be unfortunate.
And then I thought of another idea also, like maybe like Chris would know the story because maybe it's a story that he had told Claire, and maybe their parents had told them that story as well. But
I was about to say, like telling Claire what, like having it's time for beddy times, Claire. What do you want to hear about
I'm gonna
tonight?
tell you a
God.
scary story. But
Oh,
wasn't
no.
that
Spooky
Mia though
story.
saying that it was a regional tale though?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, or
if it was like a
old
regional
story.
tale.
Or it was Wesker that told them the story.
Oh my god,
Oh,
can you
maybe.
imagine that?
Oh no!
Wow. Wesker told us.
No.
Bring it back to Wesker.
It always goes back to Wesker. Always.
Yep.
But he might not be. He may or may not be dead when this game takes place. So who knows?
Yeah, he's gonna show up in the village as like this supernatural Merlin-looking mage, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here, and I created this village, and it's actually an illusion. You have been in my lab for as long as this game's been going on."
Well,
I am a clone of the original Wesker, and I'm just like Paul Anderson.
He's gonna be this village's merchant.
Or Jake or something. Like Jake is wearing the Wesker outfit, and he's like,
Oh man.
"Remember me?"
Remember me?
Oh Jesus!
No, Capcom just completely forgets he ever existed.
Yeah, they wiped him out.
Well, so did Netflix apparently.
There's
Oh,
one more thing I just want to
Oh.
make mention of for Village, and then I'll push on.
boy.
So I think I want to bring up slightly because it is something that we've all noticed, especially on social media. There is a lot of bad faith takes going on with this game on social media. People poking holes at bits and pieces that don't need poking holes. You know, criticizing
Yeah.
like why do you have like wolves in a story, you know, from bad fake merchants, from like mutants and stuff. And it's like it's not the most ridiculous thing in the series, like even remotely. I think
No,
there's like
you can
a
make sense out of it.
cult operating in the background that's like secretly like abducting people and like splicing wolf DNA with the whole Snow Village thing. Logical sense to me. I mean, the
Yeah.
original game, the
It would make
Chimeras,
sense.
the Chimeras was literally taking insect DNA, implanting it into embryos, kidnapping women, and forcibly impregnating them with the embryos. So a bit of wolf splicing is like not the most ridiculous thing in the world. And people who
Not
say,
only
"Oh God, there's like this game's gonna be terrible," are like, for fuck's sake, guys. I'm sorry, but like for the love of God, like
yeah,
stop
not only
having such
that,
bad
the
faith.
tyrants, like
It's
they're
not-
human based and whatnot, right? So like you gonna like be against the werewolf shit, but you're not gonna be against the stuff with the tyrants. You take literally a cow's heart and put inside the Medusa's chest. Like, come on.
What?
Yeah, that's literally what it is for tyrants. Like they took like another animal's heart and implanted it in the chest, but nobody's gonna complain about that.
That's the
Yeah,
first
all
time I've
good
heard of
shit.
that.
There's all
remember
sorts of crazy
that.
shit.
Remember that Resident Evil 6 is canon before you ever get on this
Yep.
game and say
We've had oozes in Revelations 2,
Yeah, we
literal
did.
Yeah.
amorphous
Yeah,
blobs.
the
Now, if
oozes.
it
The mold?
turns out
Yeah, the
it turns out
mold.
these wolves have to like drink blood to live, then maybe I'll retract my statement. But until then, like, for God's sakes, people, it's fine. It's okay. They might have a bit of fur on them. It's fine. Stop thinking this game is terrible because of werewolves. You mutants, stop it.
I really think that
This
it
is the same franchise that we had Salazar in. I mean, come on.
Don't be against furries.
No, I'm
this.
contractually not
Furries.
obligated not to be against them. So
No, I was just gonna say it's probably just because it's kind of a different feel, and then for people like me, like honestly, I don't know all of the details, the specifics of how like certain tyrants or whatever are made. So if there are people out there that are like that and are just like, oh, they were just experimented on and they were turned into a monster, but then you get werewolves in the next one, it probably does just feel different to people, you know? It has like a different look, a different environment, just overall, as opposed to like the other darker Resident Evil games.
I think the darkest, just to put it on the bed, was I think Resident Evil Survivor on I think Machina Island, I think it was called, where literally they were creating tyrants by taking young teenagers and like inflicting serious pain on them and literally extracting parts of their brain while they were alive.
Whoa.
Happy September, everyone.
Yeah, that was how I thought all the tyrants were.
So they've
wasn't
done some
prepared for
pretty
that.
dark shit over
Yeah.
time. So believe me,
Very
this
dark.
is not ridiculous, even remotely. I'm done now. So I'd had to get it off my chest. That has been
That's
really
okay.
pissing me off.
I needed
No,
Rant's over.
I needed a second after that explanation, though.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
Holy
Seeing
shit.
the hate for this game is really disheartening. So you have every right that right now.
Why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, exactly.
But on that note, let's move on to number 7, right? Who want to read number 7 off?
Now let us go.
Oh yeah. Okay. How do you feel about this officially being the end of the story for Ethan? I feel well. There was a quote from Tokyo Game Show. I have to find it. They said something about like oh, we would like to see his story through to the end, which, you know, first off, we don't get that with a lot of characters. So I was kind of like, what does that mean for him? Like, is he going to, you know, like die at the end of the game, or like
Chris
what?
probably kill him.
Yeah.
Just come in, just clap him like he clapped his wife.
Oh.
Well, a serious answer though, I'm fine with this being his last thing because Ethan, in the grand scheme of things, is not really an important character. He's just there by chance. But who knows what Chris wants of him in this game though? But I think it's fine to give a character actual closure. Because the last character that technically had some form of closure was Billy. Because like Rebecca just let him loose, let him out to the wild like a free bird. Because he's innocent, man.
Well, technically
Yeah.
he's dead officially, but yeah, I know what you mean.
He was free for a moment.
Yeah.
He
I think
came
it was a
zombie.
very telling thing that mentioned actually regarding Ethan. I've not played 7 yet, so I can't particularly be a source of massive information. But it was a very telling that they said with 7 with Ethan that he wasn't really meant to be like Ethan Winters, this guy. He was kind of a bit of a blank slate for the player to kind of project their own thoughts and images of who they thought he would be onto the character as such.
So
Almost
Dead
project
Space 1.
yourself onto it. A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think it was. I think they might well have been interested in doing a one and done anyway for Ethan in 7. I don't think when they made 7, they thought, right, we're gonna have Ethan in the next game. We're gonna throw him into the films or anything. I think they literally thought it was be one and done for Ethan, just some guy who's in a bad situation, and then the events of the game, whatever they were, happen. But they clearly liked Ethan enough that they thought maybe we could, get one more out of it and use it with Village. I think it's perfectly fine. But I don't see we need to do more than that. I think then you just start getting a bit too much. I think for just who was basically just a civilian. as far as I know.
Going off of that though, I know you said you didn't play 7, and I didn't think about this before because I thought that 7 was just going to be a one and done for Ethan, and then coming into 8, and you have him and Chris. But if you think about how 7 ended, Chris was the one technically that came and like saved him.
So I'm
Wasn't it
aware.
Henry?
Yes, I'm aware he
Like, at
turns
the end
up.
of
That's
7?
about all I know.
Yeah,
So.
so I was like, it's really interesting that they have the end of 7, and then at the beginning of 8, like it turns out, oh, Chris is about to be the end. I think Chris is about to be the antagonist to Ethan's character. But
It's I think it's a bit of a red herring. I think they're like gonna fade the line. He's not gonna be the ultimate bad guy. There's no way. It's just no way. It'd blow my mind if they did that. I think that'd be terrible way to do this. I think he'll straddle the line, and then something will like talk him over, and I don't see how they could do that.
I'll put it.
Amazing.
I just think that it's interesting that it's like they ended 7 together and they're coming into 8 together. Like that's my main
it's
thing.
a
Like
nice
I know
touch.
Chris isn't gonna be like the only antagonist, but like it's really interesting that he saved him at the end of 7, and then like 8, it's like what, like Chris, what are you doing? Like I thought,
Yeah. Oh, is that your wife? Oops.
I actually got something to say on this one. I'll probably get my feelings on it. I think with Ethan as a character, I want to say Ethan's kind of more audience surrogate character, where it's kind of a trope in media where it's like, it's sort of like the story, they just kind of react what happens to them in the story, like they're just kind of there to represent the audience. And I think with this game being his final game, I'm fine with it because I really don't know what you can really do with Ethan, I guess, as a character. Like, I guess the most they can maybe do with him is like, I don't know, maybe they'll probably do some psychological stuff to him in 8, and who knows, but I have a feeling Ethan's probably going to die in the story, or you never know.
Okay,
I
so
think so.
okay, this.
I was gonna say that's probably true because he was just a normal character. Like he wasn't like Chris, who was a part of like BSA, or not like a part of like any major organization or whatever. Like he's just a normal person. So yeah, like going off of that, I don't really see what they could do with his character either, or what more they could do with him.
It's a good thing as well. I think it's a good thing that your main protagonist might actually die, because how many RE games can you physically say where your main protagonist, you think, oh, they might actually die? There's not actually that many.
Not many.
Not many at all. There's a few exceptions. Piers, you could see it was coming. And like Steve,
that's
as
true.
well, bits and pieces
That
like
does
that.
bring
right?
back bad memories about Piers.
Yeah, but if you think
I
back
remember
to say when
Piers.
RE4 came out like 15 years ago and you played as Leon, who in their right mind thought, oh, Leon's going to die on this game? He's never going to. Of course he's not.
Nah.
Of course he's not. So I think it's a nice it's nice that you're playing a game where you actually don't know if the main protagonist is going to make it or not. I think that's very refreshing for a series that is kind of forced a lot of the time to go to the people you know and the characters you're familiar with who just aren't going to die. It's just not the way this series works. So, I think that's good. I think that's good for the series.
Yeah, because
I think I want to give Capcom like the benefit of the doubt because they've been actually doing pretty good with characterization lately. Like Carlos, somehow they made him really likable. I always see it on Twitter how many people love him. Going off subject, I'm going to mention Devil May Cry 4. I didn't like Nero at all in that game. And then when they brought him into 5 and put him into a protagonist role, like, his likable level went up to, like, 100. So I could really see Capcom doing that with Ethan. Like, I feel like the more that you get to play with him, get to know him, get to know what his motivations are, everything he's going through, like, I have a feeling that if he does die, I'm going to be really upset. Like, I think I'm going to end up really liking him.
Yeah, I think you're
that's
right.
true,
I think
because... No, go on, Rock. Do you want to say something?
Who?
Oh, damn. Do you want to go? Because
we don't have a question.
I was gonna say Rock. Jesus.
Yeah, I mistook you for someone else. My bad.
It's fine, but yeah, I agree. I think it makes sense. You didn't know much about him in 7. I don't know how much you get to know him in 8. You finally get to learn more about him and his character, his backstory, and what he's there and why he's there. And then when he does eventually get ripped from you, in whatever tragic circumstances it might happen, yeah, I think there's a great setup for it to actually, if you're going to kill a protagonist in an RE game and it actually means something as well, I think then go for it. I think that could be really, really well good.
Okay, so I wanted to.
You go on, Ren.
Yeah, because I just wanted to mention this real quick when you were talking about the character flip of Chris saving Ethan and then it going to them having animosity. I think this happened before with Chris and Jake, because didn't they have a scene where Jake found out that Chris killed his father and then they had animosity and then it was like afterwards it was a mutual understanding. Afterwards they didn't kill him or anything. He let him live.
Well, this is RE6.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh,
I think it started off with Jake hating Chris and then he finds out that Chris killed his father.
Then he hates him more.
And hated him even more.
He did hate him more, but then he kind of like worked past it because he realized there was bigger things at stake.
Yep.
Yes, they were.
Than his anger
in a bad spot.
Honestly, that scene in retrospect is kind of stupid because you see what bioterrorism could do, right? Wesker was literally about to do that times 20. And yet you're mad that Chris killed your poppy? I would be like, fuck that guy, man. He didn't kill everybody.
It doesn't make much sense because Jake didn't particularly like his father, which he had mentioned about plenty of times in that whole campaign. But I suppose at the end of the day, he's still your dad. Like it's just one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, it does. It is what it is.
I think Jake's mother used to really praise Wesker. Like I remember reading about it, how like even though Wesker dissed her, she still loved him so much, and she told Jake constantly that Wesker was such a good guy and all that. And of course, it was probably imprinted in Jake's mind to say like, okay, well if Wesker was such a good guy, why did he leave us?
Sounds like Stockholm syndrome to me, but
Stockholm
I guess it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to
I don't know. I can't speak from that perspective, so.
But Des, you were gonna go?
Oh, Des, you want to continue?
Sure.
All right, nothing else? No? Okay, because we're going to move on to the next question if everybody's done with this one.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done.
All right. Hey, Ren, want to read us number 8?
Let's see here. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay, so Kano, one of the presenters, mentioned that it will be DLC for RE Village. What DLC are you personally expecting? If I could go first real quick, I would say Leon DLC, possibly. They're probably gonna shoehorn in some character. Yeah, they're gonna do the same thing they did with what was it? Not a Hero, where it's like it's probably gonna be some character that is a series vet that will possibly get a DLC, and then it'll probably be another one with a new character like Endozo, and that's kind of what I'm expecting, like the same model pretty much.
You know, Ren, that's a pretty not bad speculation though, because I think it would be pretty lit if Jake comes into picture in like village. Because
Everybody
remember
should.
that he was in Europe, like I think in Europe or around that area at
No,
the
it
end of
was-
Resident Evil 6.
Oh,
It
don't
seemed
you?
That's
like it seemed like the Middle East or Afghanistan
Yeah,
or somewhere.
well,
in the
he's
village.
around that general area because no, it's not that far off to travel to Rome from where he was potentially, right? So imagine if Jake came into the picture and someone across the village too.
That'd be cool because I mentioned earlier on Twitter that Jake has not been captured by the BSAA and he is still wanted for questioning.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he get his $1 million?
No, he only
didn't
got like
pay me
$50
back
some
then.
shit.
I don't remember anymore. All I know is he took up mercenarying again, basically, and that was the last we heard of it. So it's possible.
Yeah, definitely going to be a different character as a DLC, like Jake or Leon. I was thinking maybe Jill.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Jill would make
Yeah.
a lot more sense as DLC.
If they're gonna throw her in to the plot as like I hope this theory actually comes off, 'cause I think it'd be really good, then yeah, it makes perfect sense. There's so much scope. You could do something beforehand, like earlier days of like village, of just a little side thing. There's so much scope in the game. You could do, and if anyone else is going to come in as like later into the game, then you could easily do something a bit like I think that's like RE4 with how they like sort of separate ways and that sort of thing, which would have been a DLC if DLC was a thing back then.
Yeah.
And I imagine that they could easily do something along those lines very, very easily.
I think I would love to see like a battle royale thing, kind of like how GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64 was like. Bring in a whole bunch of characters and put a battle royale in the village and castle.
That's very left field.
Oh my
Wow.
Very left field.
Slap,
Mercenaries mode.
You know what they need to
Slappers
do?
only Resident Evil edition.
Resident
They need
Evil,
to
Fall
do,
Guys.
We
Oh, no.
need to see.
Resident Evil
Play Resident
Beans.
Evil Go Kart.
You want us to kill each
Yes,
other?
Resident Evil Go Kart. Yes, we need to have.
Claire would have the
Ethan-
sickest design.
Oh, absolutely. Mhm.
Oh, that'd be.
I could also see like special costumes, even like just aesthetic things, like old costumes from previous games. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they're gonna render if they use like the Code Veronica or they use the RE5 costumes for Chris. Like, I don't know how they're gonna render those over on him, but or even like new weapon skins or like little cosmetic stuff like that. I could see.
I'm
Mercenaries
wondering,
mode.
do people think that Chris is gonna be playable in this game?
He will.
That's a
He
tough
should.
Well, I hope so.
That's a really
I
I
hard.
mean, I hope so.
I want to see this man body slam a werewolf.
I just want to be the one that shoots Ethan's
I mean-
wife. I'm like, that scene looks fun.
What they also makes me think about how they did Last of Us Part 2. Like, if they did like the multiple perspective like that, that'd be interesting.
Oh, where
obviously
you
not-
play one game with Ethan and the other with Chris.
Like, yeah, or I don't know how they do it if they switch back and forth, or you play a part of the game as Ethan, part of the game as Chris to see like why they're on two separate sides. I don't know.
I want
Think-
Capcom to do this, but they kind of messed it up with RE2 a little bit. So I don't know. I just hope that if they did do something like that, both campaigns are vastly different to the point where it's like, okay, it's not the same area I'm actually going through.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like RE2, Leon were I mean, they didn't have the same end goal, but they just wanted to escape.
Mhm.
Chris and Ethan aren't. It doesn't seem like Chris and Ethan were on the same side at all. So, like, what if Chris has like a mission and then Ethan's just doing whatever Ethan does?
I would like that though, because it would give you better understanding as to what his intentions are, and then you get to play that campaign like after the fact. Because I'm pretty sure Ethan's not gonna find out what Chris is on or what he's doing until the end of the game.
Seems difficult for me there to be Chris DLC playing as Chris unless he isn't a bad guy by the end of it. It would seem strange to have a DLC as him if he's the end bad guy. So I would only assume that if they're gonna have DLC for him, he 2/3 of the way of the game he becomes like the hero he always is, and then maybe it's like how he got out of the village or his events from his side of whatever happens at the end of the game. That's the only way I could see that coming across. It would just seem strange to me if he's like the bad guy at the end, having DLC playing as him. I don't know. I don't see how that would work too well.
I think we're gonna get swerved. That's what I honestly think.
I think half of Twitter has already been swerved and they don't even know it.
I feel like Chris is going to be the bad guy for the first half of the game, and then it's going to come into full circle, and something's going to happen.
Jill's going to come down on a helicopter,
Yeah.
walk up to him. What have you done? Give him a good slapping.
Wake him up.
Yeah. What do you think you would do?
I would laugh
You
my
send me
ass off if she came from the helicopter and just slapped him and be like, "Get some common sense, sir."
Or she brings Claire along with her too. Double the slapping.
But then I also feel like
the whole gang is here.
then I also feel like in the second half of the game, surely if that does happen and Chris does end up being a good guy again for the second half, you'd have sections where you'd play as him. I'd think.
Or you could do, or again,
they did do that a little bit in 7, not like as much as I'm hoping they'd do for 8 if they were to do that.
I think it might. Yeah, they could do that. It might be more effective. They might think it's more effective to just have Chris like what he's doing as a DLC separate. They might think that's a more effective way of doing that. I don't know. Go either way.
All right.
You
So
know,
I guess
another
we're done with
thing
this
that
question. Oh, what's up,
sorry,
Nick?
I wanted to mention one more thing also. Like what I was thinking of, that maybe you're seeing it from Ethan's perspective, that maybe what he believes is that Chris is the bad guy. So maybe it will make the player also believe it through Ethan's eyes.
I mean, he did shot his wife, so I believe it.
That's what I thought.
Of course, yeah.
Like
Maybe
I
that's a hallucination. We don't know.
Wait.
it could
What's
be.
up,
And like
Bish?
I was gonna say, I don't think
It could be.
is like the bad guy, but obviously, from what we saw, Mia getting shot up, like he's definitely the antagonist to Ethan's story, which is what I've been saying. But I personally wouldn't really see Chris as the bad guy because of the previous games, unless I was proven otherwise. But as Ethan, like he's definitely
The
the
only
bad
other
guy.
the only other tidbit that we know about is that in the official bios, I think it was said that Chris still worked for the BSA, even in this
Yeah, he
game.
does.
So
Yep.
it's weird that they commissioned that hit, or it makes you think a little bit when you see something like that.
I'm sure we bet Chris does Black Ops operations now.
Yeah, that is true.
Could be him gone rogue. It could have been like he's gone off to do maybe. It's possible that BSAA maybe sent him to this place like months before, and then suddenly everything went quiet. They have no idea what's happened to him, and he's kind of gone rogue and doing his own thing, and he's perhaps lost the plot a little bit. It's very cool.
I think it was just a case of, look, you got that emo baby inside of you, so I'm gonna have to shoot you, miss. I'm saving
You're
Ethan.
infected.
You're infected. I'm saving you. So let me pull out my gun real quick.
Bang bang.
Redfield turning into
Bang.
Nikolai Genoviev.
But I guess we can. Are we all done with this one before we move on?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Which number are we
Yeah.
on now?
Number 9.
Number 9. Anyone want to read that?
I'll go ahead and do it. Did anyone of you watch the developer insight? Did anything Pacific caught your eye?
Small snippets of gameplay, but otherwise, not really. Like, they were pretty much just relaying the information that we kind of already knew. And they already talked about how important the storybook was going to be, so that's where we learned it from there. I did like the fact that there's less wobbling when you're running as opposed to RE7. And it feels like it controls a little bit better, but in terms of what they showed, it was very small bits and pieces. What about everyone else? Anything else catch your eye?
Not much, to be honest. It was, I think besides a few snippets of gameplay, that was pretty much kind of it, mostly.
Well, like I said earlier, it just has a less creepy feel from 7. So yeah, we've already seen some of this stuff. I thought the storybook aspect was. Oh wait, that was from the trailer, not from the developer thing. But it seems less creepy to me. Like I guess it will be for sure be hard. They did say that they wanted it to be terrifying, but from what they did show us, it doesn't seem like we have that Resident Evil 7 feel where it's like super creepy, you're super sketched out the whole time. And then they did mention the immersion aspect of the game as well. How it's supposed to play as if like we're in the game, and I think one of them had mentioned that the only thing that wouldn't The only thing that we'd have to do to be even more immersed is scanning ourselves into the game.
Yeah.
And I really hope that they execute this well, because I would love to be immersed into this environment.
Okay, so I thought that the storybook thing was in this trailer, but I guess not. But yeah, it's the thing about this one is that I think it probably looks less creepy environmental wise because you're in this big, well, the gameplay they showed at least, you're in this big clean mansion where the witches are. I think there's going to be more drab and dirty environments as it goes along, and then maybe there's going to be like surprise because there's these old cabins and in the forest and everything, and they did say that the environment will be a little bit darker in terms of visibility. And I guess when you hit those areas where you can't even see or there's stuff on fire, you can't progress, and there's creatures chasing you, that this is where the tension is going to come in when you're running away from everything. So that's what I think is going to happen, as opposed to being in scary Louisiana with Jack Baker beating you up and saying that you're a motherfucker. Or that's that just makes me laugh. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, they did talk about like they're trying to put over this whole idea of like the village is like the third protagonist, and they're trying to make this sort of a living, breathing thing that you want to be fearful of. I think it's not a bad idea in principle. They're trying to instill this whole like the village is like this omnipotent force that's around you, and there's lots of shit going on, and ultimately make it a place that you don't want to be. It's incredibly dangerous. I think it's not a bad idea of execution. But it's gonna be hard to implement that. I think achieving horror in like 2020, 2021, I think it's a very hard thing to do in a game, unless you're like going like pure psychological. I think it's a really hard thing to achieve nowadays. Expectations are so far different from what they were 20 years ago. If that's what they're going for, I think it's gonna be tough for them to manifest that. It's not impossible they might manifest that, but I think they can definitely achieve creepy. I think they can do that. The whole kind of this wolf pack mentality of like the village around you. A bit like what they did with RE4, if you will, with the Ganados in the village. Which was pretty iconic at least in that respect.
That's what I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's what CVX Freak said. He said this whole game felt like it was an entirety of the village segment from Resident Evil 4, where you're fighting the villagers off and you're about to get boxed in. I think that's the tension they're going for, is that where am I going to go next? What am I going to do? It's like literally 6 wolfmen chasing me down the street, so I got to get in the house fast or do something because I'm going to die. And that's what Kano mentioned as well. He said that he died because he didn't have enough ammo to fight any of the enemies, and there were way too many of them. So I think the tension is going to come from getting boxed in and surrounded, and that's what people have to deal with, as opposed to a lot more creepier monsters and boss battles and all that stuff at first. I think the first area is just going to be you exploring and getting chased down by these things.
Yeah, this is why, again, you think back to the whole village standoff in RE4, everyone remembers it, and we don't just remember it because there was a crazy man wielding a chainsaw. They built it because of like they build it up with a bit of tension and kind of weird stuff going on. You're in the village, and then suddenly all this hell happens around you, and you're not remotely ready for it. That's the whole point of the setup, and they will probably imagine do something similar to the village, and I think they should, because it works. I think it's a very effective way of storytelling. As someone who's somewhere they ought not to be, and they get promptly shown, you can't take on the world. You're and think you were Leon then, who's crazy madman, basically. Not Ethan Winters, who's not really cut out for this sort of thing. Why he's there, I don't particularly know. That's the way I think to get across horror as such nowadays, is to put the player against a set of odds where it's insurmountable and it's too much for them, and you have to rely on on fleeing. Basically, you can't fight everything. You're not that kind of person. I think that's how you get that across nowadays.
That's until I get to New Game Plus, and I'm like, I have infinite ammo now, so you guys are screwed.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't always work though. They also tried this with Resident Evil 5 in the early game, but it did feel somewhat less effective. I mean, you immediately play as like freaking Chris Red with the arms, the size of tree trunks. So perhaps it wasn't quite the same, but they did try the same sort of thing with that. So it's not a guaranteed success that you play this and it works. But I think given the aesthetic of Village, what you're looking at, you're probably going to be fighting against this again pack mentality. I think it's probably the way I would go if I was developing this game. I'd figure and think, well, this worked 15 years ago. Why? Because this and this and this is awesome. Right, let's do it again. It's been long enough.
Yeah, it's different enough from 7 that it's like not slow pace, like fast paced horror. So I think that's what they're going for. They're like, it's the same sort of gameplay, but the formula is a bit different than what we were expecting. So anyone else on this question?
Yeah, I think one thing that. Oh, sorry.
No, you can go. You can go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the one thing that got me was just how much like the directors were talking about, like how much they liked Ethan and everything. And I said, well, if directors seem to really like him, that's like they're gonna really push him to his limits in this game. They're gonna really push him to be an actual character and actually really good and likable character. So that was one thing that got me. As well, you know, just the environment, really, really beautiful.
I hope so, because in my experience of playing RE7, Ethan does not talk much, and mostly it's just his wife beating the hell out of him, from what I noticed in my playthrough. So,
Well, for the opening?
Yeah, she was just beating.
Yeah, he doesn't talk a lot. Then again, most characters really don't talk unless they're in a situation where there's other stuff going on around them.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, though, RE2 and 3, I believe, as well, kind of have the characters talk whenever enemies on screen, like little remarks, like "oh shit" and stuff like that.
Yeah, little things. Again, this was a deliberate thing. The developers talked about with 7. You know, this whole Ethan was a blank slate. You know, you filled in the gaps as the person controlling the player. It was them to fill in the gaps and always personalize their own story to a degree. That's what they apparently have shot. So.
Yeah, cause you could also make the same argument for like the older games as well, because the characters don't say anything until a scripted event happens.
Hold on, I don't think this is a question, but what
What's
do you guys think about Ethan's new look? Have you seen it?
Yes,
I have.
The memes.
Oh.
Yes, I've seen the meme.
He looks like James Sunderland.
He really
Mark
does.
Thompson.
Now look Sebastian.
I didn't think
He's
Aunt
got-
Thompson. That's a good shout. Wow.
He's got to look for his wife, Mary. Have you seen Mary?
Have you
To be
seen
fair,
Mia?
like if Ethan has like any kind of amnesia, I will call him Mark. I will do. 100%.
Yeah, let me post it on screen so the chat can see. But yeah, I just made the meme that he just looks like James Sunderland, and I don't know why they're still obscuring his face when he has a facial model, I think.
I think they're doing that on purpose at this point.
Yeah, but they might be considering
Yeah.
perhaps changing it, perhaps.
Maybe.
So I don't know. I'm not too sure. It's just I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's like a particular reason they don't want to show his face off immediately. I don't know.
I know there was this wild theory that what if he was a Umbrella operative and Chris was the good guy all along?
You know, that theory wouldn't be far-fetched though, because you do see another Ethan W inside the files. Capcom's a little stranger to retconning, so that Ethan Winters could be that Ethan in those files. But at the same time, they are kind of established that he's a normal guy. But again, retconning. You didn't know much of Ethan's backstory other than the fact that he went to Louisiana and get clapped in the process.
Wouldn't be the first time they've retconned stuff. So.
Oh, you guys are crazy.
Yes, I am.
You love us and you know it.
Oh, there it is. The Ethan W that was in Resident Evil 5, which says he's supposedly deceased, but they could be lying. You never know.
Oh, this. I think this is pure coincidence. I don't think when they put together Ethan Winters, I don't think they at all thought, oh, there's this obscure file for Resident Evil 5. Like, I think it's just pure coincidence. I don't think it's anything.
You might be right though, but still, no. Retconning is no stranger to Capcom, so they could do it.
It's true. Now that the thing is, now that they're aware of it, they might do. But like, I think if it was deliberate, they would have made it obvious that it was deliberate in 7. And by the sounds of things, they didn't. So I think it'd be an odd retcon to do now. He's already played a game as him. Seems a bit late in the tale to do that. Seems a bit kind of obvious that they would. It's an obvious retcon. Such.
For sure.
If it's a good swerve, I'll take it. But for now, I'm just going to wait until the game actually comes out and see what I come up with. Also, they are having an not August, but because August is already gone, obviously.
Winter.
A winter update for Resident Evil Village, which I hope is more gameplay because they barely show anything today.
I am not holding my breath on that because I was so disappointed with their stuff today.
You're
or
not the only
yesterday.
one, Brandon.
I am too.
Yeah, I just kind of wish it wasn't the same presentation over. Maybe just like 20 minutes of running around in the village. I would have been fine with that. I'm not asking for much.
Yes.
Might be a case they didn't do it because it's just not ready.
That could be true.
It could be that simple. It could be it's just not ready. It's as simple
You know,
as that. They want
I
it to.
would agree with that if they didn't show off gameplay earlier. Because technically speaking, we already have like a good compilation of gameplay from the trailers we got, right? So surely they could show us something at least.
This is a good point. This is true. I imagine if they're doing something in the winter, I would thoroughly expect it because if there wasn't steel, there would be some serious questions getting asked. So there could be a variety of reasons they decided not to. Maybe they just felt there's enough stuff going on they didn't feel they needed to. But no, I imagine if there's something coming in the winter, I would thoroughly expect there to be some kind of gameplay to chew on and to get an idea for how things are going to go. It might be a case of they didn't want to delve into it because it's going to start like asking questions of the game's plot, and they think it's perhaps too soon to be talking about the game's plot, perhaps. Because what kind of gameplay? If you're having any kind of combat gameplay, you're going to be fighting these creatures that are around, and then obviously the next question is, well, what are they? Perhaps it's just not a question they really want to be delving into at the moment.
This one thing I want to ask, like, where was it this little snippet called "Winter is Coming to Ethan"?
Wait, what?
Because Capcom has.
I thought they just binged the first series of Game of Thrones.
Oh,
That's what I thought too. That's what came to mind with Game of Thrones. But
oh, you're talking about the slogan, right? Winter's coming to
Yes.
Ethan?
The title for the video.
Yeah.
That
was corny as shit.
Funny.
Maybe it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, we are very creative and innovative, and we're gonna do all this wordplay, and it's obviously probably like December or something in game, so you never know. They might just be doing all that, but I think it's not anything big on the surface from what they're saying with that statement.
I think it means that Ethan is completely doomed no matter what he does.
That'd
Like,
be funny.
doomsday. Like, it's like
He is
winter's
screwed.
coming. Okay, the entire village, the entire winter, everything is just crashing down on him.
The White Walkers are coming.
Yes.
We're gonna let you play this game and have 6 different endings. Ethan dies in every one of them.
I mean, it wouldn't be past Capcom to do things like that. They've done this with a few of their franchise characters. I'm not talking Resident Evil characters. I'm talking about just Capcom characters in general. Yeah.
That'd be, to me, that'd be the funniest thing ever. Like, imagine just having this game and you get multiple endings and every one of them you just die. It's like, there's no way out for this character.
That'd be kind of dumb, to be honest with you. I don't think they should do that because 9 times out of 10, usually when they do that, multiple endings, some of them aren't even canon.
Yeah, that's true, but
There's enough canon issues in this series, yes.
at the same time, you could kind of say Silent Hill 1 was kind of like that because half the endings, Harry dies, and there's obviously some where he lives, but most of the bad ones are ones where he dies or something else happens.
Or maybe just like a blooper reel of Ethan dying all the time.
That'd be great.
It's not really a thing Capcom ever delved. I mean, Revelations 2 had like 2 endings, that were substantially different. Other than that, it's not really anything they've really delved into, like alternate endings for their games. It's not really a thing they ever do.
It was that and RE1, I would say, because you can technically leave characters behind or the mansion blows up or stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So those 2, and that's it. Like, there's not really they just don't really do that sort of thing. I imagine it'll be, especially given this whole 25th anniversary thing. And again, I think there's a rather cyclical nature in the plot. I imagine it'll be a pretty fun ending for this game, whatever that would be.
So I guess we can.
Are we done?
Yep, I guess we can.
Yep.
Move on to the final one, number 10.
Yeah. All right. How do you feel about the notion of Capcom trying to make a last gen port for RE Village? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh.
It's
a money grab.
Yeah, money grab.
yeah.
I'm
But it's
kind of
also kind of a
on
bad
it.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
Because-
necessarily a bad thing. But it's also
No,
not necessarily
because
a
the
good thing.
installed base
I was gonna-
is there. But yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, I think it's good for the people that can't necessarily get the next gen consoles right away. but I really
Yeah.
think that they should focus heavy on because they're talking the game up pretty heavy. I feel like, we have all this immersion, we have all this exploration, we have just like all the stuff that they're saying about it. So I really feel like they need to definitely focus heavy on like making sure that it's good for PS5, Xbox Series,
Xbox Series X, S.
Whatever it's called.
whatever it's called.
Whatever it's called.
I
The
mean,
new one.
It's good because they are making it available to everyone, or as many people as possible by doing it.
Yeah.
I think they should.
So that means as many people as possible have access to this game now because they're doing this. But it is absolutely just a way to try and make money.
So
that's
there's always
not
multiple sides to
necessarily
this.
a bad
though.
thing,
Like,
though.
you are right. There is a degree of that, and it's about obviously trying to make sure the game is out to as wide a reach as many people. But there is a bit of PR going on in that. It's like, well, if you can't get this on the newest console that's only recently come out, then we will give out a version for the previous one so you can still play it. And it's maybe this kind of inclusive thing. There's always this always like year or two kind of transferal period between consoles. I can't think of another example off the top of my head, but I believe Revelations 2, did the same thing.
Yes, it did.
I played on my channel at least. When I did my series of it, I had to do it on 360 because I didn't have a more recent console at the time. And while it wasn't quite as crisp as the current version at the time was, and there was a couple of graphical errors here and there, it still was ported, I think, fairly okay. I didn't know particularly wrong.
The only difference, or at least that's I guess somewhat, was the fact that it had the frame rate as the next gen versions.
There were some frame rate issues, yes, there was definitely, and you could tell when you were playing it, like it was really pushing what the console could do. It was sometimes struggling to do that, and this was similar as well.
I was playing the game on PS3 first, and then I went over to PS4. Well, PC then PS4, but the game ran at 30 FPS though, but sometimes it would dip. Unlike the PS4 version, it will consistently stay at 60.
Yes.
So I think they should focus exclusively on current gen, because while it will suck for people who can't upgrade right away though, this is why I say like Capcom should release it at least close to a year when the install base is actually getting strong, right? So they should release the game with high console numbers, and then let's see how things turn out from there, because I don't want them to compromise on the game heavily, because you already see how the game looks currently from the press footage, right? I have a strong feeling that they would downgrade a lot from what we've seen to everything else, because they have no loading screens, all that whatnot, right? So they got a lot of work to do to port over from the PS5 to PS4.
Okay,
there could be quite a significant hardware gap between the two. Is there I can't remember. Is there dates been announced yet for either of the two new consoles?
Isn't it
November?
November 10th and 12th.
All right, okay then.
Yeah, it's November.
So this game's going to have been out probably, say, maybe 6 months since by then. So it's not a particularly long time afterwards, but a longish time.
Okay, so I wanted to clarify something real quick. They did say on stream that they are 50-50 about this decision. They did say that this game is definitely optimized for next generation consoles. However, they said that for last gen, they are looking into it again. And I believe they said again because they tried to port it the last time and it didn't go so well. Although I think what changed their mind now is due to the fact that the PlayStation 5 is going cross-gen with a lot of their games like Miles Morales and Horizon Forbidden West. Because they're doing that and they're not leaving people behind, I think that's why they're trying this again.
I think if they can do it, I think they'll do it. If they think that it's worth them doing it, they'll do it. It wouldn't shock me at all. I think it would be a stranger decision if they didn't than if they did, which is kind of a weird thing to say. But that's the impression it would seem weirder to me if there wasn't a version for the previous gen if the console had been out for 6 months.
That's Capcom.
I'd be more surprised.
They love money so much.
Well,
it's definitely something they should do, especially if it's like within the first year of the next console coming out. They definitely should do it for the previous gen, right? But
They can do it and feel they can do it well enough.
well, yeah,
I
they
guess.
should try
I
and do
reckon
it definitely.
I
At
feel
least.
that way too, just because again, for the people that can't, get the next gen consoles right away.
Yeah,
they
it
don't
makes
feel
sense
like
for them to try it. Because they didn't even get the chance to do that with 7, because obviously 7 came out in 2017, and the previous gen came out in 2013.
Yeah.
So it was already too late into the cycle to go back to the previous generation.
I agree.
Yeah, it was long gone by then.
Yep.
I think if
So
it
they
was
have they have a great chance to do it this time.
Yeah, I think if it was any later, then they wouldn't even consider this option at all. Like, if this was late into the PS5 life cycle, no way. But
I said this in the. Huh? Oh no, go on. Go on right now.
no, I was done.
Okay. To be honest, I said this in chat. I think it's best they go full on next gen so the game can be at its best. Because I don't think last gen systems at all. It's just I think eventually you gotta move forward because I know games like, for instance, Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2 remake and RE3 were like pushing current gens to its limits. Like the graphical fidelity. So yeah.
I don't think
if
it
it's
has to have
feasible
enough.
that-
Go on.
Oh no, sorry. No, I was gonna say if it's feasible that they can put it on the PS4, that they should go for it. But if there's
Oh, yeah,
too many
definitely.
resources, if it's too expensive, if it's just like, I mean, what I'm thinking about, like, back in like the early '90s, Capcom did Street Fighter Alpha 2 for the Super Nintendo. Like that game, I don't even know why they bothered, and because it just like it didn't play well. It was so laggy. The loading times were so long. I mean, of course, obviously, software has evolved from that. But I think if it's just not possible for the PS4, like if the game's gonna be laggy, if it's gonna crash, if it's gonna play like you're playing a PS2 game or so, it's not gonna work.
That's why I'm glad they're
I mean,
50-50.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see them try for it. I'd like them to be ambitious, but I'm not holding my breath, but I'm also crossing my fingers.
There is a significant difference between, say, that period of gaming and this period of gaming, and that is online updates. That wasn't a thing back then. It was much difficult to do. What you printed out was what you had. At least now, like if they make a version and they bring it to release, and perhaps it's not playing as well as they'd like it to, they can still try and put some work onto it post-release to try and optimize it at the very least. So I think they'd have a much better chance of making it work to perhaps say PS3 to PS4 or even early something of that sort of ilk. I reckon they shouldn't be. I would like to think it wouldn't be too difficult, but it definitely shouldn't come at the cost of Resident Evil 8 at all. It should not impact upon the finished product or what that's going to come in current generations. If it's going to start impacting upon that, then maybe it's not worth doing it. So.
Yeah, like if it doesn't make it, like if they don't have to add loads of loading screens in or something that downgrade the gameplay or something, then they should definitely go for it.
Sure, they'll experiment a bit. They'll see what they can and can't
Yeah,
get away
they'll
with.
have a
And if they feel that it's worth them doing, then I reckon they will do it, and I reckon they should.
Anyone else on this question? Going once.
I mean, Capcom would never turn down an opportunity to make money. So
No, not
We
at
live in
all.
a capitalist
very
society.
true.
We live in a capitalist society. It's how shit works.
Yup. Oh, everyone's posting wolf gifs. So, I guess
Sign.
we're good enough to close out.
We're good?
unless anyone else has any final things they want to add? Anyone?
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
Don't think so.
All right.
Hashtag give village a chance. Hashtag
Yes,
trust the
please.
process.
Yes, please.
Hashtag stop it, you mutants.
Hashtag say yes to furry.
Hashtag,
please play Village.
hashtag,
Please
Ethan,
play Village.
Yeah, hashtag please play village.
Look,
That's a
we
good-
have-
hashtag Ethan for Smash.
We have human frog hybrids in the series now. Like it's
No.
already crazy.
the most craziest thing is mole people. I think it's the most crazy.
No, the craziest thing was a transformer.
Oh yeah, you're talking
Oh,
about the
yeah.
tyrant.
it was.
You're talking about the tyrant thing that was in what was it? That aim?
6.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about now. Never mind.
No, Dead Aim had a
T-Rex.
tyrant that wear like stilettos and was of a ambiguous gender. It was. Don't get
Oh,
me
that's
started on that.
right.
Christ,
The
don't get me
first,
started
the
on that.
first
Holy
female
shit.
tyrant, I think, is
male
Was it
female
I
tyrant.
don't know. Was
Yeah, I
it?
think
I don't
it
know.
No,
was-
It's pretty
okay.
androgynous to me.
That's
not
a
the place or time for
whole
that.
other debate talking about the tyrants having loins and why Umbrella takes them off. Like,
Yeah, like, this is it's too late for that. It's
That's a different conversation for a different day.
yes, it is. All right, but I guess
right.
we can close out. This was a good podcast, so we're gonna
Yeah.
do outros
Yeah.
here. Mr.
I'll
Brando.
X myself out. So let's just get this over. You can find me on Twitter at Immortal Brando. I have a Doom guy icon with his cheeks hanging, so don't be surprised when you see something weird. Everywhere else, don't worry about it. Trust me, don't worry about it. Andre,
You
go
can
next.
find me at Twitter. You can find me at Twitter, Andre B Venom, and yeah, that's about it. So
all right. Black Shadow.
Yeah, we have
Outro.
a Twitch. There is a Twitch, Black Shadow 993, as well as a Twitter even. Actually, God, it's too late here. I'll try again. A Twitter at Black Shadow 993. There we go, and a Twitch as well at Black_Shadow.
All right, Miss Secretary. Outro.
You can find me at twitch.tv/VersaVulture24 and at twitter.com/Desiree_Veronica.
Hey,
Go.
Ginger.
I was gonna say something real quick. Go spam her with a lot of love and Wesker emotes if you can find them.
Yes.
It's the internet. You'd be
I
amazed
agree.
what you can find.
Bang bang.
All fetishes are catered for.
I
Oh
don't.
my god.
Oh god. All right, let's do Genja's outro.
Okay, so you can follow me on Twitter for blitz_ginge, or go on YouTube. My channel is Ginger Ninja. I use the same picture for everything.
Nice.
Nice and
Dirty
simple.
Dan.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at the Dirty Dan _. I post mostly Resident Evil stuff and fighting game stuff. Those few current favorite things to post about.
Miss Whopper. Nikki. Give yourself an outro. You're still there.
Miss Whopper, how dare you? It's Miss Whopper. Whopper. Oh my god, I can't pronounce that either. It is Miss
Whopperator. Or whatever it is.
Whopperator. Oh my god. Okay, you can find me at Twitter at Miss Catatonic. There is an underscore between Miss and Catatonic. You can also find me on Twitch at Nero Catatonic, and you can also find my new team, Hoshi's Nerd Squad, on Twitch at Hoshi's Nerd Squad. We play a lot of Resident Evil games, where I am currently playing a blind playthrough of Resident Evil 0. And we're taking tallies on how many times I die, so please join us.
I've just
Under-
knifed from the game. It's balls hard, believe me.
I've got to watch that.
Send her,
Alright.
send her pictures of Chris's butt. Just do that. She'll get excited.
Should we ask what a Whopperator actually is, or is that a bit too much?
That's a story for another day.
But last but not least, the man who put all this together, Gatorade Operative.
All
Your
right.
outro, sir.
All right, so you can find me at ihatemilk.com because I'm sick.
I hate milk.
You can find me on YouTube at milksucks_.
Damn.
All right, so realistically, you can find me on YouTube at Renegade Operative. You can find me on Twitter at ren_. Well, damn it, fuck. The milk got me fucked up. All right, you can find me on Twitter at ren_. I will be posting this podcast as soon as possible on the Infinite Ammo Syndicate account, so look forward to that. Also, people want me to go back to Resident Evil 7, so I might do that over the next couple of days. I got a stream scheduled for Wednesday, and I'll play a little of that over there for you guys.
Hey,
I might replay that too on Game Pass on PC.
It's honestly fun. Like I'm having a good time with it. It's really getting me on terms of the scares because blind playthrough, but I think it's fun.
Yeah.
And
Alright, that's
about
good.
it.
Oh,
That's
live
good.
playthroughs are the best, let me tell you.
Yes, they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Got mine to do.
Oh yeah.
So much fun.
I'm replaying through it for the second time, but I haven't played it since launch, so I forgot everything. So it's like a Blade playthrough.
Yeah, replay it. Do it.
yes. Yes.
Go in with a kind heart. Play it.
A kind heart.
You can do it.
All right, so I guess we're gonna sign out on this podcast. Once again, glad for everyone who stopped by in the chat to discuss some Resident Evil Village and Infinite Darkness. It was fun, you know. The next podcast, I don't know when it's gonna be. I have to check the planner, but I did have an announcement saying that I wanted to talk about the Friday the 13th movies. We're gonna do a reaction to Scream 1, and we're also probably gonna do a podcast on RE0 because I kind of want to go back to that game and beat it and get some opinions on it from there. So we will let you guys know when that's.
Sorry, bro.
Yep.
Oh no.
We will let you guys.
Oh,
Hook shot is gonna kill me losing it again, but we'll talk to you guys later. Yeah, say no to milk. That's a good one.
Hashtag say no to milk, everyone.
Oh my god.
No milk.
We will see you
All
guys
milk,
next
all the
time. We're signing out.
Ta-ta.
Later.
See you later.
Go away.
See ya.
Milk sucks.
See ya.
Moshi.
Eat those.